Most High Christ. Shalom, Israel. Give me 1 second. 1 second. Bobbity. All right. Shalom, Israel. Yahweh Shemash Thumb, Yahweh Shemal, Thumb Bashem Yahushua, priest and officer 1,000 year die, holding the class down to a 12 show General Muhammad gets here, a higher ranking man. Now, Black, Latino, and First Nation man and woman, lots going on, lots that happened. We got to realize, man, the importance of, why we have to come back together. Why the scripture says in Zephaniah chapter 2 and verse 1, why it's essential for all Latinos, all Seminole and First Nation men and women, and Black men and women to gather ourselves together, because America and these other nations, man, do not give a damn about us. They do not give any damns, Malakia. And it's a sad thing that our people have to keep relying on them in every so-called holiday season, every Thanksgiving, every Christmas, the billions of dollars that are getting poured into this wicked society, man, for these satanic holidays, man. When we have high holy days and feast days coming up, like we have the feast, of the dedication Hanukkah coming up December 17th. Make sure y'all tune into that December 17th. If you can make it here to 41 Garrett Road here in Upper Darby, PA, Commander General Yohana will be in the building and holding down the service. That's December 17th. Now, our people put so much emphasis on Christmas and Thanksgiving and New Year's and all of these other wicked holidays that the oppressor promotes. But what about our high holy days? What about our feast days? First of all, let me show you what the Lord feels about these so-called feast days of the oppressor. Let me show you what the Lord feels and thinks about your Christmas, your Thanksgiving, and your New Year's. Let me get Amos chapter 5, verse 21. Now, it's essential for our people to understand this, is that you got to think about it from a financial standpoint too. Like, Malak, you know how much money our people are going to pour out for Christmas? Right. Like, do you have any idea? Like, a lot of our people are going to go for broke. For what? To fall behind on your rent, your bills, and your electric bill. I know everybody behind on their Pico bill, Malak, because I sure as hell am. You about to go ahead and go behind on all your bills and your mortgages and your car note. You can forget about that. For Christmas, this is a very depressing time of the year too, because the oppressor puts so much pressure, to make it seem like, oh, you're not a good father if you don't get your family, a Christmas tree and gifts and have that dinner. Let me tell you something. That's what makes you the worst type of father in the universe, Black man, Latino man, First Nation man and woman, if you predicating on what the oppressor feels and what they push. You know how do you become a better father? By throwing that tree out the goddamn door. Right. Take that tree, uproot it, throw it out the goddamn door. You know what I mean? You ain't cooking no turkey or no ham or none of that. You know what I mean? That from now on. I say ain't nothing wrong with turkey, but around this time, it's an abomination. It's a lot. Ain't nothing wrong with it. You can eat it, but guess what? If you sitting there and you feasting on turkey and in the reverence of so-called Thanksgiving, which is really a day of mourning for our First Nation and Seminole Indian brothers and sisters, then you are a traitor to your people, man. A traitor. That's why it's important to understand that our God gave us laws, statutes, and commandments, and he gave us days and feast days that he ordained. Christmas is not a day that the Lord ordained. Neither is so-called Thanksgiving. Neither is your birthday or New Year's. We're going to go into that. Read Amos chapter 5 and verse 21.
Amos chapter 5, verse 21. I hate.
The Lord said, I hate. You as a Christian, man, Christians will tell you the Lord is incapable of hate. Why y'all always talk about, well, my God can do anything. My God can do wonders and move mountains, but he's incapable of hate. God very well can hate. And let me show you what he hates. First off, every Christian out there, God can do whatever the hell he wants. Explain this, man. You love to talk about, well, my God can't do that. Yes, your God can. We act like God is just our personal genie in the bottle that we only call upon when we in trouble or turmoil, man. Our God has things and people that he hates. Well, let's find out what some of these things are. Read.
I despise your feast days.
I despise your feast days. The key word in there is your feast days, meaning this. The Lord hates Thanksgiving. The Lord hates Christmas. The Lord hates your birthday. Yes, brother. Yes, sister. You sisters out there, the Lord hates your birthday. All of these days that the oppressor has ordained, the Lord cannot stand them. That's why he said, I hate and I despise your feast days, because Christmas is a feast day of the oppressor. Thanksgiving is a feast day of the oppressor. You know what I mean? Your birthday, you can just forget about it. All of these things are heathen customs that Latinos and First Nation and Black men and women did not partake in because our God commanded us not to. Our God commanded us not to do these things. And for our people to claim, you know what I mean? Because our people naturally have a zeal of God, like it says in Romans, the 10th chapter, in the first and second verse, but not according to knowledge. A lot of our people love to say this, Malaki. I see him on Clubhouse and Twitter. Oh, I just let God do it. Won't he do it? God is with me. God got me. How can the Lord have you if you're not doing what the Lord said to do? Don't you understand that God's love is very much conditional? God's love is very conditional on the fact that we do what he commands us to do. And that's why he said, I despise your feast days. You would be an absolute fool if you believe God is with you if you're going to go out there and celebrate Christmas. If you're going out there to think that that's all right for me to cut down this tree and get these gifts and then give it up in reverence in the name of the oppressor and think that that's all right with the Most High, then you are sadly mistaken. You are sadly mistaken. That's why it is important to realize that this truth, man, this truth cannot be compromised. Like you see these fake Israelites, you see these Christians, you see these Muslims, and they don't know the Bible. They don't know what the hell they talking about. Every fake Israelite, Christian, and Muslim are all going to get together this so-called holiday season and sin. But if you were tuning into these classes in the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge or coming to these classes physically, now is the time to change. Now is the time to let the old man die. Let that old woman die. I know your parents are going to look at you like you're crazy. I know your husband and your wife going to look at you like you are in a cult because you saying, yo, baby, we ain't putting that Christmas tree up this year. Like, goddamn, shalom, boy. My mother almost got me, sis. My mother told me, you died, come outside, you know what I mean, and help me get some stuff out the car. I was like, all right, getting ready to get up, come out the apartment, go, around the corner, help her out. Then I was like, what you need me to get? She was like, my Christmas tree. I'm like, ooh, can't do that. Can't do that. You would have thought, you know what I mean, that I said something heinous to my mother because I wouldn't do that. But here's the thing, man. It's a righteous thing. You got to realize, man, that you cannot compromise this truth. You know what I mean? For the nostalgic memories of your childhood. Because I get it. A lot of our people are like, oh, my goodness, but I had such a wonderful Christmas. I used to have a wonderful Thanksgiving. When a lot of them Christmases and Thanksgiving, you don't want to admit it, was traumatizing as well. You just try to project that memory of, oh, unity and peace and prosperity, one with your family, but you can have that any other day. How about have that December 17th for the Feast of Hanukkah, where we remember what Mattathias and his righteous sons did, man. Fighting against the oppressor, fighting against the Greeks and the Romans, man, to preserve this truth, to stand with the Lord, choosing to honor the Most High. That's what we have to do, man. The problem is our people like to fold and just bend and break, you know what I mean, at the whim of the oppressor because it's easy. Nah, you can't do that. Throw that Christmas tree in the garbage. Don't go out there, you know what I mean, and buy them Christmas gifts. Don't do that. Don't do it. Because at what cost is it? At what cost? Why the Lord said, I despise your feast days. And reading on, it says, and I will not smell in your solemn assemblies. Meaning that Christmas ham, that chicken and turkey that you're getting ready to make for Christmas dinner, the Lord is not smelling none of that. The Lord was not smelling none of them candy yams and that nasty cranberry sauce and that dry turkey that y'all burnt and made on Thanksgiving. The Lord was not smelling none of that. What's important to realize, man, if the Lord is going to smell, you know what I mean, that food that we're going to send up, you know what I mean, and eat, you You know what I mean? For the Feast of Hanukkah and for the Feast of Purim. You can forget about the Passover, Malaki, which will be in Raleigh, North Carolina, man. Which we got to understand, man, which is so important as the Lord's chosen people, is that this is in the Bible, where the Lord is clearly telling us, man, that these days that the oppressor ordained are not for us. They are not. They're not. Water warrior, I appreciate it. Now, if I could, let me get Jeremiah chapter 10 and verse 1. I'm gonna take it a step further. I'll show you Christmas in the Bible. And it's going to tell you that the Lord said not to do it. Because what we need to realize, man, Nabal, give me Proverbs chapter 3 in verse 31. Because what's really important, we have a tendency to look at how the oppressor is living. How about Shem Yahshua Brakatah? Wrap it up. Let's get it on.
All right. Solid. I'll take your questions online. I'm gonna move this a little bit. All right. I'll take your questions online and in the room. I have something I needed to go over today. I believe I sent you a video. I sent a bun the video. The water will go over those videos, Lord allow. This Thursday, I'll be in Washington, D.C. Let me get my Spanish together. Whenever you're ready with your questions.
Brother, I want to break down Genesis chapter 3, verse 23 to 24.
Say that. Pull it up for him, all right?
Sir. The book of Genesis chapter 3 and verse 23. Therefore the Lord God sent him forth from the Garden of Eden to till the ground from whence he was taken. So he drove out the man and placed at the east of the Garden of Eden cherubim and a flaming sword.
Anything specific about this?
Kind of general breakdown.
Okay, bear with me together. Bear with me for 1 second. A general breakdown. Stand by. Anything else after that?
No other questions.
Let me just get my Spanish together real fast. All right. Okay. Say it again.
Genesis chapter 3 and verse 23. Therefore the Lord God sent him forth from the Garden of Eden.
Who is this speaking about? That's speaking about Adam, or Adama in the Hebrew. All right. The Most High sent him forth from the Garden of Eden, meaning he kicked him out of the Garden of Eden. That's what happened to Adam. The history of the nation of Israel, this entire history started back a long time ago in the beginning with a man named Adam, who committed the same transgressions that we've all committed here in our captivity. But he did it first. He was seduced by the same seduction that seduces you every day, that seduces your grandmothers and will seduce your children if our faith is not strong. He went through it and he failed. Everybody understands. So because of that, he was sent forth from the Garden of Eden. What's the Garden of Eden? Eden is the earth. The Garden of Eden is the most beautiful and pleasant place on the earth. Everybody understands, which is why I appreciate that. Which is why it's called the Garden of Eden. All right? He was sent away from there because of his sins. He was kicked out. Go ahead.
To till the ground from whence he was taken.
Why was he sent out? To till the ground from whence he was taken. The Most High said he delivered Adam from the dust, from the earth. And then when he got kicked out of the Garden of Eden, he was sent back to work that ground from which he was taken, which also is a perfect precept to prove what the actual ground was. Adam was born from the ground outside of the garden. He was from that ground, from that earth. He was not from the earth inside the garden, which is why the Most High just said to till the ground from whence he was taken. He was taken from the ground outside the garden. What is the ground? What's the dirt that the Most High delivered him from? The culture of being a sinful people, being lost, being ignorant. And ignorance is a giant thing with blacks and Hispanics because ignorance is a big thing with poor white people. And poor white people are who train black people. Poor white people are crackers. Not every white man was called a cracker. The other white men were called masters. But there were certain white men that were called crackers because they were poor, and they were the ones who had the lowly job of cracking the whip on slaves and forcing slaves to keep their quota. They were poor. And so they worked with us and they beat our backs, and they were our supervisors in the field. And we learned our culture from poor white people, poor Irish people, poor Italians. I mean, if you're from an inner city, your whole basic culture is the culture of the poor Italians that were over you in the ghettos. The Italians that you worked for, that sold you your drugs and owned the buildings in your neighborhood and loaned you money. And so the culture in the north is poor Italians, poor Irish people. The culture down south is poor crackers. And those people are ignorant as hell. Ignorant. They hate education. They hate knowing anything. And they believe that their gut instinct is profoundly correct because they're ignorant. And we went and learned our culture from them, which is why we're so goddamn ignorant. Everybody understands. But then Adam was taken from that. He was given knowledge and understanding. He learned about the animals and to name each animal, and blessed with the Most High God's intelligence and structure and order. Then he sinned against God, and now he's going right back to that dirt. Does everybody get the breakdown? Now he's going back to that dirt, and you can go work that ground from where I took you. And you better let that be a lesson to you, because the minute that you betray God's commandments and leave this school, I'm going to leave you where I found you. Does everybody understand that? You're going back to work in that. You're going right back there to get back in that dirt that you were pulled from. Now you can work in that dirt. Now go survive out there. Go ahead. Go see if you can work hard enough to supply your own drug habit. You came into the school and you were delivered from that drug addiction. Well, you don't want to be in here. No problem. Go back out there and now work out in that dirt to buy enough drugs to supply your drug habit. You keep doing it. I gotta send you a story tonight about weed and all of the people being sent to the hospital on weed. You go back and work it. Go back. You hate the UPK. You sisters, you hate us because we teach men that they can have another woman. That's why that faggot Nate left the UPK. He said it on the tape because we had so many women. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine? Nate left the UPK because we were getting too much tail. Too much tail in here. Give the UPK a hand for getting all that tail. Well, you don't like our men because they believe in having more than one woman? Then get back out there in that dirt and find a man. Go ahead. Go find Prince Charming out there at your job, on the streets, or on Facebook. I'm sure Instagram is just full of, Denzel Washingtons and young Billy D. Williams. That's who's out there. That is who is waiting for you. Millionaires. Is that right, Yudai? This is who is out there in that dirt. Millionaires waiting to marry you and raise your kids that you got with other men. That's who's out there waiting for you. Millionaires with fancy cars and want to take you to Aruba and to the Caribbean and will raise your kids that you got with 3 different men. That's who's waiting for you out in that dirt. Go work it then. Go work that dirt and find a man. Go do it. This is the breakdown. Everybody understands? The dirt is talking about back in the world where he found Adam. And now Adam has to go back into the world and struggle to survive. Now he's plowing. Now he's out in fields dealing with the weather and the heat and trying to find a way to grow vegetables when it's a drought and it's too windy and it's too rainy and it's too hot and all your crops die. And then the locusts and the grasshoppers come and mites and beetles. Go out there and work that field that I took you from. The Most High left Adam right where he found him. Everybody understands. Next.
Next verse, too, sir.
I believe that's it, unless there was another, he needed more than that.
The cherubim.
Oh, so I can go ahead.
Verse 24. So he drove out the man and placed at the east of the Garden of Eden cherubim and a flaming sword which turned every way.
So he kicked him out, and then a cherubim is talking about an angel.
Right.
He placed an angel to guard the door back into the Garden of Eden. And this angel has a flaming sword. Keep going.
Which turned every way to keep the way of the tree of life.
And this angel has a sword that's turning every way to keep the way. What does it mean to keep the way? Who knows what that means? To keep, what is a zookeeper? Right? Or a housekeeper. To keep the way means to attend it, to guard it, to guard it. This angel is standing there guarding, watching over the Garden of Eden, making sure that Adam and his people never come back here again in the state that they left it. They never come back again and, commit more crimes against God, disobey the Most High statutes, laws, and commandments. They're not getting back in. It's spiritual. There's an angel there making sure you don't come back. And many people from the tribe of Judah have tried. Many fake Israelite groups have tried. They go over. There was a group back in Chicago that took all these people from Chicago. Stupid, ignorant, fake Israelites. Tried to get back into the land of Israel, got as far as Africa, had to stop in Dimona, Africa. Stop right there. And they died by the hundreds in, some desert. Other people try to go back and start Israelite groups and Israelite communities going back to the Holy Land. And they die of disease, and they end up serving in the so-called Jews' military. I'm going to leave you right where I found you. That's where you're going to be at. You don't like it in here? No problem. Go work out there then. Go enjoy. You had a good time out there when you were in the world, right? It was wonderful for you, right? You miss it, don't you? All right, well, go get it. Go work it. There's an angel stopping you from coming back. Keep going.
That was it.
All right, next.
Brother Salaki, sir, are there any scriptures on prison reform or pertaining to how to deal with persecution of brothers in prison?
Okay, you can give me what Christ said. He'll open up the prison houses. You can give me the curses about the head above thee shall be brass and iron. That's in Deuteronomy. Those are scriptures describing prison. The best way to understand prison in the Bible is to understand hell, because prison is being in hell, right? Hell is a condition here on earth. Now, how do you describe that condition? Living in the tenements and the projects of New York. You're in there suffering, and there are rats in your house. Not mice, I mean rats in your home, crawling all over your goddamn stove at night. You call in the building and the super, they say there's nothing we can do about it at all. You're finding all kinds of ways to deal with rats biting your babies, biting your children. Living in the projects and living in, the tenement houses of New York, that's hell. A lot of black people down south living in trailer parks, living in, 10 homes in Jamaica, homes made of, aluminum siding. That's hell. And hell is living in the mole people of Las Vegas. Under Las Vegas, and just so you know, this is in every major city. Every major city that has a subway. In Las Vegas in particular, they have a group that people coined the phrase and called them mole people, because there are storm tunnels that they built under Las Vegas for possible flooding, and they're under the casinos. Poor people, of course, are run off of the street of Las Vegas because they don't want poor people to distract rich people when they're trying to have a nice vacation. So they run them off of the streets. They're not allowed to be on the strip. So they escape into these storm tunnels, and they're called mole people. I have a video, I believe, if I didn't send it to you, you know who has it? The brother down there in California, Thawa Bun. He has it, he can get it to you as well, all right? All right, that's hell living under the subway. Brooklyn has the same thing. Philadelphia has the exact same thing right here. You can walk at 34th Street, you can go walk down in that tunnel down there, and you'll find people living down there in that tunnel. Those people are in hell. Where else is hell? The condition of hell. The condition of hell is in a lot of your homes when you're molesting your children. If you're some little girls hiding under your bed when your parents are arguing, or your mom is arguing with whoever is effing her this week, and you're hiding under your bed and you're crying and you feel like no one can help you, and yet you can't tell anybody because we don't tell the business that happens in this house. We don't talk to people about what happens in this house. So you can't tell anyone at all. You're afraid that you'll be taken from your mother. You love your mother, but at the same time, being with her is killing you. And so now you're hiding in the closet, crying, trying to put your hand over your ears. Or you're watching your mother have sex with some man, where you're literally watching her because she does it right there on the couch, right in front of you. She acts like you're not there because she's so high. She barely knows that you're there. She brings men in and out of your home. Some of these men have sex with you. Your mother hates you because the men begin to be attracted to you as you get older. That little girl is in hell. You understand? You're a little boy, and your mother sells you to men for those men to have sex with you. Or the men molest you the same way they molest little girls. That little boy is in hell. He's in hell. And hell is in prison, where all of these things happen that I just described. All of them. Prison is such a good metaphor because everything I just described that's terrible on the outside of jail is in jail. All those things, including the rape and the rats and the degradation and being belittled and physically abused. All those things are happening in prison. Prison is hell. So you want to go through the scriptures and get all of your hell precepts. And that's prison. I'll take two of them, you die, if you have the ones I just asked for. About the head above thee shall be stone, shall be steel. You know where is that? Where it is? If not, I'll get it for you. Okay, bear with me. Let me give you this one.
Deuteronomy 28, 23.
Solid. I'll take that. And you can go ahead and read that.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and verse 23. And thy heaven that is over thy head shall be brass.
Also hold Isaiah 42 and 22. Hold that. And there's one more that I'll take for time's sake. Bear with me, and then we'll go ahead. 25 and 36. And Hebrews 13 and 3. That's enough for today, all right? But there's many more. All right. As long as you have the ones I just told you, we can begin.
Deuteronomy chapter 28 verse 23. And thy heaven that is over thy head shall be brass.
The Most High said, the heaven that is over thy head shall be brass. You look above you, you're supposed to see the sky when you look up, right? The sky, the clouds, the sun, the moon. But when this person looks up, he sees brass. He's trapped. He's in a cage. This is a precept about prison. The Most High prophesied to us that we will be in prison. In America, there are 2 million people in jail. 85% of them are Black and Hispanic. God damn it, I just remembered I had to bring this out. I got to learn how to use this phone and set reminders on this phone. Somebody need to teach me how to do it. Because I have something in here I've been meaning to bring out for about 5 weeks. Bear with me 1 second. It's about jail. Stand by. Stand by. I'm going to just get it to you, Diane. All right, then we get right back on this. Okay. You can stack the questions up while we're waiting. All right.
Comment about it.
Okay, I'm about to give you something right now. Here it comes. You might have to just read it from my phone. I would rather send it to you, though, so you can keep it for later. I'm going to send it to you, all right? Here's the first one. Is there a way on text messages to send multiple texts at the same time? Is that possible or is it impossible? What do you say?
It depends, sir. Depends on what you're sending.
All right. I believe it's just one more.
Comment.
All right, that's it. All right. We'll read the precepts and then we'll break that down. All right, go ahead.
Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 23. And thy heaven that is over thy head shall be brass.
Above your head is metal, brass. You're locked up in a box. Locked up in a box. No sky, no sun, no moon, a box. Keep going.
And the earth that is under thee shall be iron.
And below your feet, where there should be soil, dirt, earth under your toes. Instead, iron, because you're in a box. You're in prison, and that is hell. And the Most High God prophesied that it would happen to us, and it happened. Keep going. Was that it on that precept? Go to the next one.
Isaiah 42 and verse 7. Sir. The book of Isaiah, chapter 42 and verse 7. To open the blind eyes, to bring out the prisoners from the prison.
Read the verse above it, please.
Isaiah chapter 42 and verse 6. I, the Lord, have called thee in righteousness, and will hold thy hand, and will keep thee, and give thee for a covenant of the people, for a light of the Gentiles. This
is the Most High saying that he rose up prophets of God to be a light unto people in the world. People who are Israelites, but they live their lives like they're poor Italians and poor Irish and poor Scottish from Kentucky or from Arkansas. We live our life like heathens, and the Most High called us Gentiles. But we are here to be a light to those Gentiles so they can know how to behave, so they can know how to lift themselves up from the ignorance of the other nations and to become civilized people. Keep going.
Sir. Verse 7. To open the blind eyes.
To open the blind eyes, because why? They're ignorant. They don't see. They don't know what's happening. And we open their eyes. Keep going.
To bring out the prisoners from the prison.
And do what?
To bring out the prisoners from the prison.
And do what?
To bring out the prisoners from the prison.
That's step one. That's our job. Our job is to get them out of prison. If you're a man of God, that's one of your duties. And please don't be slack in understanding your job. You have a job. And there is no one else that will do it. Tons of you were shocked that Deion Sanders went out and got a job at a white school. Shock, broke your little heart. Why? You thought football players were going to save black people. Didn't you? You thought Kyrie Irving was going to save black people. Come to find out, football coaches I think they're pretty good at about one thing. Who can guess what that thing is? I think they coach football. I think that's what they do. I think Kyrie Irving was going to apologize because Kyrie Irving does one thing, and that's play basketball. If you want black people to be saved, to come out of prison, to get education, to be a better people, I don't think that football players and basketball players are going to be able to do that for you. They don't really meet the job requirements. Do you understand, or are you too ignorant to get that a football player cannot save your life? He can't. That's not something he can do. He can coach a hell of a football team. That he can do. And doing a good job at coaching football leads to what? Who knows? Blow my mind with understanding. Does anyone want to guess? If you do a great job at coaching football, what would that lead to? Malak? Yeah, I mean, he's undefeated right now, Deion Sanders, which would obviously lead to what? Money from where? A better job. Right? Like every other thing in life. Right? Like every other thing. You do a good job at it, some white man offers you more money. That was clearly going to happen the minute he went undefeated. Clearly. And you said, oh, no, I thought he was going to save our lives. Come to find out, you'll have to do it. You are going to have to do the thing that you want rich people to do. You will have to get brothers out of jail. You will have to do it. There is no one else that will do it. Rich people, it is harder for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter the kingdom of heaven. If you're waiting for football players, actors, and basketball players to save black people, you'll be waiting. You'll be waiting. They won't do it because they can't, because they're too weak and cowardly to do it. They can't live up to your high expectations of self-sacrifice because they're weak to money. But the UPK is not. Commanding General Yohana is not. What we do forever. Forever. We don't do it for 2 years and then find a better job, which is what every football player is doing. Every last one of them is trying to get a better job. Every last basketball player is hoping to sign a better contract. Every last scientist and doctor and anyone who works a slavery is trying to get a better slavery. Am I saying something that's blowing your mind? Right? I think everybody understands that, right? But you were so heartbroken about it, which makes me wonder if you thought Deion Sanders was going to save black people. I wonder sometimes about you. I wonder if you thought that salvation will come from basketball and football. I wonder. As far as I know, it's up to us to do that because we make lifelong commitments. But of course, a basketball contract is not a lifelong commitment, and a football job is not a lifelong commitment. But your commitment to this priesthood is done until the day you die. It's an oath. Deion Sanders has not taken any oaths. Do you understand, or is this over your head? All right, you better go ahead and do it yourself. You better go ahead. If you want brothers to get out of prison, if you want better schools, if you want to end crime in your community, you better do it yourself. There's a funny video with Deion Sanders. Did you see this, you guys? Deion Sanders said, I'm so upset. He said, I went back in the coach's office just now and somebody stole everything out of the office. Did you see that, you guys? Oh, type that in your phone now. Deion Sanders went back to Jackson University. He coaching. He went in there and somebody stole everything out of his office. He said, thank God I got my chains on. I had them on my neck because somebody stole everything out of his office. Oh, he's done with that. Oh, there'll be no more stealing. Oh, he's going to be in Colorado where there's no crime, beautiful weather. Oh, come to find out, he likes pleasure more than he likes being around you. Are you surprised by it? Did that shock you? I guess we'll have to do it. I guess the UPK will have to take an oath and stay on this job for the rest of our life. Because I don't think that athletes can do it. I don't think that they're able to do it. Or actors or rappers, God forbid. Jay-Z, I know you believe Jay-Z must save all of the negrosity. I think rappers are good at one thing. Who can break it down? What are they good at, Yediah? I think they're good at rapping. I don't think they're civil rights activists. I gotta move on. I'm gonna move on. Yediah, come on.
But about me, sir, what you saying is just so heavy.
If you could, Malak, find a video with Deion Sanders getting all of his stuff stolen. Or one of y'all find it for me. Go ahead, Malak.
What's so heavy about what you're saying, sir, is that, you know what I mean? according, what I mean, to the purple faggots, purple homosexuals, what I mean, to comedians that they call prophets, that you can go out there, when they
you're right. TK Kirkland. He quoted TK Kirkland like he was Isaiah. Right. It's something else. You know what I always attribute it to be? Is when you're a very small man, when I say small, I mean spiritually, then you can be very impressed by someone who appears large because you're just so impressed by things all the time. And you idolize rich people, you idolize them, and you want to be like them. And so there are very serious problems that you'll expect them to solve that they cannot solve. They can't do it because they want money. And they're not going to lose money over helping black people. They're not doing that. We will lose money to help black people. Do you understand me? We will lose it. We will sacrifice our own riches, our own security for yours. In the UPK, we'll do the job you think basketball players, football players, and comedians can do. We'll do it instead. Now, the minute you understand that, you'll know who you should really support. Who has the video? You got it, Malak? You die, we'll put it up on the screen. And then we'll go back into it. Prison is a terrible problem, and it's a prophet of God's job to get blacks and Hispanics out of prison. You have to get them out of there. They're in hell, and they need your help. They're in jail. Most of them committed a terrible crime, and the Most High God made them pay for it. And the Most High God is giving them redemption from the crime they committed. And especially in the Mexican prison system, the Guatemalan prison system, all of the South American prison systems. Let me make it simpler. Any prison system that is occupied mainly by niggers and spics is not there to rehabilitate you. They're there to punish you. That's the purpose of that prison. Now, you go to jail in Russia, oh my God, you're going to go to jail in Russia and come out of there a better man. They're going to rehabilitate you, teach you, make you a higher level thinking person, treat you like a human being. That's what happens if you go to jail, if you're a white man that goes to jail and where the prison system is predominantly white. Their job and objective will be to rehabilitate you. But if you go to jail in Mexico, Guatemala, Haiti, what's the other one? The Zebulonite country. Guatemala is good enough. Or America, you're going there to Panama, to suffer, Honduras, to suffer, to be punished. And no one cares about rehabilitating you. So, since the prisons can't rehabilitate people, the UPK will have to rehabilitate people. We'll have to bring people to their higher being, to make them raise themselves out of the, blow my mind by answering this question right, sister. Thank you, give her a hand. To raise themselves out of the dirt and behave themselves like kings and princesses. We can't expect athletes to do it. We can't expect the prison system to do it. We will have to do it. Let me show you what Deion Sanders, what he can go through. Read that. Let me play that.
One, the kids played really well. While the game was going on, somebody came and stole everything I had from our Oh my God. Yeah. Credit cards, wallet, watches. Thank God I had on necklaces. How? So when I talk about quality, raising standards, that goes for everyone, not just the people on the field, not just the coaches, not just the teachers, not just the faculty, but that's everybody, security in everybody. So how do you think it feels coming back after just teary-eyed because the guys that presented me with the game ball, one of the best moments I've ever had in my professional sports career emotionally. And then you go into the locker room, the coach's office is at rest, and you notice that you don't even have a phone. They call you mama, they call you girl, they call you the kids, because it's been stolen. You don't even have the scully hats that you wore here. We're gonna find out who did it. Let's flush that. Jackson State, dear love. Man, we just make it what's up. Guys, I went back, I'm 100, y'all know how I get down. That is me all day, man. And that, you know, come on, man, that don't even make sense. So I'm very transparent. I'm gonna always be transparent with y'all. And I just ask y'all to be transparent, keep it 100 with me.
Coach, was it only your stuff? It was
Only my stuff.
Okay.
Sorry, man.
Thanks, Coach.
Deion Sanders, they gave him the game ball. They gave Deion Sanders the game ball. He goes, man, let me go call my wife about this. Let me get my phone. Say, well, hold up now. Well, where's my phone at? He go back in the office. They done stole everything from him in the office. Good thank the Lord that he had the chains around his neck, because everything he had was stolen. Now let me play a clip of when he took his new job. I just sent it to you just now. Play when he took his new job. You think he can do what we do? You think he can go into the projects, the reservations, the barrios, North Philly, Harlem? Do you think he can go in there? Let me give you a story. I was at the school in Harlem recently. No, this was a few months ago. I'm looking over at the van, and there's a man bent over in front of the van defecating. I'm assuming you know what that word means. Pulled his pants down right on the street and pulled his pants down and is defecating in front of the van. Sometimes I lose my temper. That can happen. We all fall short. So now I begin to go over there and beat just try to help the brother understand that he should not do that. Commander General Yohana stops me like this from going over there. And then one of the brothers said, yeah, we find human defecation in front of our door regularly. Do you think Deion Sanders can do our job? You think he could be us? He can't. He cannot do what we do. Somebody stole his bag out of his office. Somebody robbed him. Can you imagine the amount of hatred that we get in the UPK from the people we love? You know how much they hate us? Call the police on us, shut down our videos every time we put one on the internet. Call the police. Can you imagine the kind of attacks that we suffer every day from the people we love? Somebody stole Deion Sanders' bag one time. That's what happened to him. That's what happened to him. Meanwhile, if you're in the work of the Lord, you go to camp and you don't watch that car at camp. Somebody's stealing that car at camp. They're going to steal that car. They're going to break in your car. The same people you're trying to teach, they're going to steal your car, break in your car. They're going to call the police on you. They're going to physically think that they could fight you at camp. And yet, what do? Suffer for them. Teach them. We never quit. We never quit on black people, ever. We never quit on Hispanics, ever. Did you think Deion Sanders was not going to quit on black people? I think you might be a hero. You might think that celebrities are heroes when they are not. They're not heroes. They're football coaches. That's all. You idolize them, but I think you're giving them more credit than they actually deserve. Players' press conference. Now, first read this. Read that, please, Jedi.
Come, sir. Deion Sanders throws shade at the city of Jackson, blasts them. It says, Deion Sanders throws shade at the city of Jackson and blasts them for crime in front of Colorado fans.
And now he takes a job at Colorado. Oh, and Colorado is nice. Ooh, that's like heaven. Ain't no brass above your head down there. Oh, you out there in the mountains of heaven, out there in Boulder, Colorado. Come on.
You know, if I may, General, would you bring it out of this so heavy? Because I heard some brothers online on the Twitter machine and Facebook. They were blaming Jackson, Mississippi, and blaming the poor people of Mississippi. And in my mind, I'm like, so as Israel, we're blaming the poor blacks and Latinos for Deion leaving, but nobody wanted to hold Brett Favre accountable. Same state, sir, same state that sold over $75 million from our people that could have. So,
I mean, of course, what Brett Favre did is a crime. Is a goddamn heartless, cold, criminal act. What Deion Sanders did is what every football coach on the planet would do. Do you understand? Right. Every last one. Right. The football coach you had in high school was only there because he didn't have a better place to coach. Right. You get my point? If you were cooking let's say you made food at a neighborhood place and you're cooking up good soul food, you will cook there until what? Who can blow my mind with answering the question? Until you can find a better place to cook. Someone look up the average pay for the average pay rate for the highest paid HBCU coach, and then give me the highest paid coach from a predominantly white school. And now you think about that. And what do you think you think he would do that? We would. Commander General Yohana would turn down white money to be with black people. He would turn it down. You would turn it down. Not football coaches. That's the whole damn point. That's the whole reason they're football coaches, is to coach at schools where they make a lot of money, like any other job. But you in your mind thought Deion Sanders was the black savior for all blackness, and Kyrie Irving was the hero of the Hebrew Israelites. That's what you thought. They're not. They're regular people who have a skill that's marketable, but they're not prophets of God. They're not priests. If you want brothers out of jail, you're going to have to do it. Kyrie Irving can, and Deion Sanders can. Play the video. Someone else give me the stat. Malak, you give it to me, all right? You can play it. So now remember, the first video was him saying how he got robbed during the football game. While he's playing football, someone breaks into his office at Jackson University and steals from him. Now, the next clip, let's see what he says when he took his new job at that white heaven of a school. What do you have for me, Yadai?
Oh, $75,000 highest paid for HBCU.
Now, let me tell you something. The highest paid coach at an HBCU makes $75,000 a year. Now, hold that. Now, let that sink in. Deion Sanders, he paid for all of those uniforms and for the helmets and for the shoes. He paid, and for the trips and for the plane rides. He paid for those himself and got rich friends to help him pay for those. So he's getting nothing. The coaches that actually get paid makes the highest one makes $75,000 a year. Who makes more than $70,000 a year? A nurse, a registered nurse, an accountant, give me something else. Every lawyer. Damn, a lot of slavery, a lot of just high school diploma slaveries. You can make more than $75,000 a year. A good truck driver, you can make about $90,000 a year. You would be getting paid more than Deion Sanders at Jackson University. How much does a coach at a white university make, Yedaya?
$10 million.
Say that again.
$10 million.
One more time.
$10 million.
What in the hell did you think was going to happen? You might need to find your heroes elsewhere. Right. I know where I find mine. I know where I find my heroes. I find mine in here. Right. I find mine in the UPK. That's where I've always found my heroes. Right. In the Israelite School of UPK, out of 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York. That's where I found my hero. Right. I don't think football players and basketball players are going to give up $10 million for you. Right. I don't think they'll give up $10 for you. I don't think they'll do that. I gotta go. Okay, now play this video and let's see. Malak.
I've been following.
Say again?
Tom, check 805.
Please.
on this story all year on my own. I've been watching.
Fast forward all this commentary. Just come on. Just give me what he said. Maybe I found the wrong video. This is somebody commenting too much on the thing.
It's been there.
Try this. Fast forward more. Just skip down. See what happens. Try it right there. If not, I'll move on. All right. Go ahead.
Channel ESPN
There's a lot of talk.
alluded to that in his press conference.
All that he set out to accomplish against adversity simultaneously. And he stopped me in my tracks. It just made me ponder the thought that a Florida boy who resides in Texas could come to Colorado. You better clap for that, dirty. Tracy, my fiance, Constance, my daughter, Pretty Tony, the whole crew, Coach Hart, Coach Kelly, Coach Mathis, all that guys, whoever up the list. What's my son? Junior, stand up. Yeah. He does all the social media stuff. All the stuff you've been seeing, that's him. The profanity is him as well. Where's Shador? Shador? And this is your quarterback, right? He's going to earn it. Don't believe that. He's going to earn it. Yeah, the quarterback's going to earn it. The safety may be man, so I didn't bring him. His brother. He's in my doghouse right now. And I never would have thought at this time last year when I was laid up in the hospital dealing with these blood clots, getting 2 toes amputated and the sides of my legs cut out, that I would be in Colorado in this beautiful weather, this beautiful place, this beautiful city, which is virtually crime-free with over 36,000 students and a fan base that just won't stop. Don't
Stop.
you ever tell me nothing.
God can do all things. Play that last part so he can tell you that Jesus did it for him. I understand. He went from making $75,000 to $10 million a year. God is good all the time. I'm sure he is. But who will give up $10 million for God? Who will do that? Commanding General Yohana, the ISUPK, will lose it for you. Now, if you're thinking that a football player will pass up $10 million and keep making 75 and get robbed, then you might need to find your heroes elsewhere than TV and movies, because they won't give up $20 for you. Deion Sanders gave up money to go help those poor kids. That's more than I thought a rich nigga would do, because I have no hope that any rich man can do anything for the chosen people of God. I feel the burden to do it myself. I don't feel like, Steve Harvey will do it, or some rapper will do it. I feel like they won't do it, so I have to do it. You, on the other hand, you think he'll do your job for you. You think he'll lose money for you. Let me tell you what you could do. Here's something that you could do. Do you go to restaurants? If you think that some rich man will give up $10 million while he makes $75,000, why don't you do this? Why don't you tip when you go places? Tip people. When you walk into a restaurant, right? Tip the waitress or the waiter You go to a restaurant, you want to teach Deion Sanders a lesson? First of all, do this. Pay your tithes. Because if you're not paying your tithes, you're a hypocrite to talk about anyone who won't sacrifice money for black people. Because you know what we do with money in here. And you won't even pay your tithes. So you're a hypocrite for complaining about anything that anybody else does. And of course, you weren't given the choice between 75,000 and 10 million. So you think you do a better job than him. But this is how we'll find out. If you don't pay your tithes, then you would just be like any other rich man. You choose money over your people. That's what you're doing right now. Let me give you another small thing that most people can't afford. Tipping. You go to some poor restaurant and some poor Mexican brother or sister is in there. Tip the person. Tip them. 25% at least. 20%, 25%. Commanding General Yohana taught me how to tip. Tip people. You want to take it up a notch? That person that walks you to your table, tip them. Tip them. Before you go into the restaurant, have the money already folded up. Sit in your car and fold up a 10, a 10, a 10. Fold it up in the car. And so when you walk into the restaurant, they'll say, how many people? You'll say 2, me and my rib, or the 4 of us. They'll walk you to the table, just say thank you, and just put that 10 right in their hand. That's all. Then when the waitress comes, she's getting her, of course, 20%. You know that little Mexican brother that comes over that busts the tables, that gets the glasses and the plates? Say, gracias, amigo. Gracias. Gracias, carnal. And hand him a 10. Everybody in there will go, God damn, he cares about poor people. She cares about poor people. She didn't have to give up $10 million, but she sees that we're all poor together. She has $20 more than me, and she went here and she tipped me. He tipped me. You don't tip anybody. You complain if somebody wants a goddamn tip from you. And what, you're mad because somebody took $10 million over $75,000? Okay. Well, I'm sure you would have never done it. I'm sure you would have never did what Deion Sanders did. God forbid. I know you wouldn't have done that. I know for a fact Commander General Yohana would not have done it because he's been offered more money than that. And he has not taken it. Right. He took an oath. He doesn't quit this job. Deion Sanders, I didn't expect him to stay there, no matter what. The minute that bag got robbed, you best believe he was saying, can you please see if a white man will give me a job? Is there any white people that will give me a job so I cannot? He had this place making nothing and getting robbed. Now he's going to make something and not get robbed. I don't expect him to not do it because he's not a priest in the UPK. You want people out of prison, you have to do it yourself. Give me the last precept that I asked for. Then give me those stats. If you can put them on the screen, that's preferable, all right? Go ahead.
Hebrews chapter 13 and verse 3. Remember them that are in bonds, as bound with them, and them which suffer adversity.
Read that apart again.
Remember them that are in bonds.
And there's truth, man. Sometimes a brother goes to prison. Sometimes there are brothers in prison that come into the truth. Remember them that are in bonds. In bonds means they're trapped, they're tied up. Remember brothers in prison, man. They're in bondage. They're in bonds. Remember them as what? Read that again.
Sir. Remember them that are in bonds, as bound with them.
Remember them that are in bonds, as bound with them. When someone is in prison and they're in the truth, you have to think about them as if you're in prison with them. Like you're in jail. That's this job. Do I have to wait on Kyrie Irving to help brothers in prison? Am I waiting for him to do it? Or T.K. Kirkland? Or Kanye West? I guess I'll have to do it myself. If someone is in prison, you better act like you're in there with them. Think about life like that. Like he's in jail, so am I. I'm in there with them. I have to remember him like that, or else he'll be forgotten as he's in hell. Keep going.
Sir. And them which suffer adversity.
And them which suffer adversity. People that are suffering and poor. You have to think about them and remember them as if you were suffering adversity. That brother that's busting tables, that little Mexican brother that's busting tables and washing dishes, you better act like you're washing them too. Like you're busting those tables. Like you're the waitress. Like you're the beggar on the street corner. Like you're the people who are suffering. And we can't expect rich people to do that. They can't, because they care about money more than they do people. But we care about people. And our minds and our hearts have to be with them. And if not, they have no one. Keep going.
As being yourselves also in the body.
You understand? In America, there are 2 million people in jail. Where does that rank in the world? Number 1. Number 1. There are so many terrible things that make America the greatest country on earth. Terrible things. And that's why no one will ever fix it. Because to fix the problem with America will be to take away the thing that makes it great. America is great. America is the greatest country on the planet Earth. And it is so great and so wonderful because of oppression. So no one will take it away. No one will give up Christmas. No one will give up Thanksgiving just so they can have a little more money in their paycheck to tip the Mexican brothers when they're in the restaurant. Because if you gave up Christmas, you know, that would leave money left over that you would spend on Christmas. Now you can give it to the poor. Now you can give it, tip people and help people out because you don't celebrate Christmas anymore. You didn't buy all this food for Thanksgiving that is too much food, and people are going to leave your house with giant metal trays full of goddamn food because really it's too much food. So people come to your house and fill up a to-go bag that's a giant tray of food. What else could you have done with that money? You could have been a better tipper to poor people who help you and serve you all the time. You could give money to the poor. You could pay your tithes once. You could do that if you stop celebrating Christmas, but Christmas satisfies you. You're just like Deion Sanders, I see. Christmas satisfies you, so you have to do it. You're like Deion Sanders. I see who you are. That's who you are. You're like a poor Deion Sanders. You got $2 that you won't give up if they kill you. And he has, 10 million that he won't give up if they kill him. What the hell is the difference? 2 million people in jail. Let me tell you how they got in jail. Now we're going to give you a history lesson on what made America so great. What's the first thing you have, you die? Let's get something up on, not the text messages. Get the graph up on the screen. See me one more time, please, Malak. Mm-hmm. Please, sister.
When you brought out the fact that rich people wouldn't give up their money, I was at a gas station one day and I didn't know this little boy. He was just out of school and he was asking for money to pump people gas. But I didn't know that he was doing it until he asked this white guy that was behind me for to pump his car.
Pump gas, yeah.
And he pumped it, and the white guy literally gave him like quarters and pennies that was in his pocket. Nice car, rental car. I didn't have much, but I'm like, you know what? You even got to pump my gas. Here's $10. Just go home. And for him to just give him the change, knowing that he could at least give him $5 or something, it was messed up.
Give her a hand. Sister, what you did was very One West. You didn't expect some white rich man to take care of your people. That's your people. And you watched it and you saw how they won't do it. They have the money to do it. Some white man in a nice car, he has money to give some poor brother begging to pump gas at a gas station more than pennies in his pocket. But he won't do it. He won't do it. He won't part with $10. Not for him. Not for that little boy. You took it upon yourself to do the job, correct? Well done. Give her a hand. Well done. We all should learn that lesson that you learned that day. Rich people are not going to take care of us. Rich people take care of themselves.
Right.
Kyrie Irving can't take care of us. The purple faggots think Kyrie Irving is going to donate so much money to them that they can drape this planet in purple. That they can dress this planet like lavender lilies, and drape the world in purple. They think that Kyrie Irving will do that. He won't. He will not do that because he cares about himself. Kanye West will not. Michael Irving will not. What's his name? Deion Sanders will not. He won't. They stole his bag. He was gone that day. Please believe it. That day is when he decided, I think I had enough of this nigga this experience. I think I had enough of the ghetto. I'm going to Colorado, where there's virtually no crime. None. In the one press conference, he's talking about, you know how much crime is in Jackson, Mississippi? Lord have mercy. Captain Kahan is from Jackson, Mississippi. You going down there, you go to Jackson, Mississippi, you're getting shot. Just chalk it up to life, to a life lesson. I'm going to Memphis to be shot. I'm going to Houston to be shot. I'm going down there so I can get shot down there in Jackson, Mississippi, which is where I'm going to get shot. He goes and playing a football game and he gets robbed while he's playing the football game. That day, I can guarantee you, he said, this experiment is over. I'm done with this. I'm going to Boulder, Colorado, ski and see white girls and not get robbed. Am I angry at him? I don't even care. I don't even feel anything because I didn't expect much any goddamn way. I expect white people, oppressors, and rich men to be selfish. So because of that, my burden is higher. My burden is higher, just like the sister considered that poor little boy at the gas station to be her burden, not the burden of someone rich. Please. No, I don't think he made $10 million at Jackson State. I think he made negative money. I think he owes money now. Now that he went to Jackson State, we're going to Jackson State. He damn sure has to buy another cell phone. That much I know because they stole his cell phone down there. Go ahead.
Colorado doesn't have the funds right now to actually pay. They don't have the $30 million.
They offered him $30 million? I know you would have never taken that. I know that. I know you would have stayed at the HBCU. I hear you. I know Commander General Yohana would not have taken it. He wouldn't have taken $30 million. Not to leave the people that depend on him. Deion Sanders is not a prophet of God. He's not a priest. He's not turning down the possibility of $30 million. He's not. He's not going to do that in any possible, metaphor. Would he ever do something like that? If you expected him to, you're finding your heroes in the wrong place. All right? Read what you have here.
From 1850 to 1940, racial and ethnic minorities included foreign-born and non-English-speaking European immigrants.
So now I'm taking you back to the 1850s. The majority of people in prison in the 1850s were white people. They were the majority of people in prison. The Irish, the Italians, the Germans who were recent immigrants. Prisons were full of white people in the 1800s. Keep going.
Made up 40 to 50% of the prison population.
Mm-hmm.
In 2015, about 55% of the people in prison, in federal or state prisons, were Black or Latino.
So it switched. Back in the 1850s, there were the majority white people in prison. Now in 2015, it totally flips, and there's the majority of Black people in prison. Blacks and Hispanics. Here's the graph right here. This is what it is right now. What switched? White people began to use their money to help poor white people. They rose up their poor bottom class, their farmers, the people living on farms. They had the farm bill, and they had the GI bill, and they set up agricultural programs so that people who were poor could make more money. They took care of poor white people. And in taking care of poor white people then were not inspired to commit as much crime. At the same time, they took away the right of Black people to earn money, took away black farmers, took away programs that might help black farmers, oppressed black entrepreneurs, oppressed black businessmen. And so what happened? We filled up the prisons. They came out the prisons and became entrepreneurs. The government did it. The government set out to fix the problem of poor white people becoming Al Capone, Jesse James, Billy the Kid, Babyface Nelson, and the Italian mafia, the Russian mafia, the Jewish mafia. They saw who was committing the crime and they went and fixed it by creating there are some bridges in America that serve no purpose other than being a work bill to give white people jobs. Look up the bridge to nowhere. That's a term in politics, where they just build a bridge that doesn't lead anyplace. Why? So that white people can have jobs. Because if white people don't have jobs, they'll commit crime. Look this up also. Why is it that firemen come to this one, for the life of me, I wish someone online was a fireman, because I need to understand this. Let's say someone passes out in the street right here of a drug overdose, right? An ambulance comes and a fire truck. Has anyone ever noticed that before? Fire trucks come if someone faints. If there's a medical emergency, a giant fire truck shows up to the scene. And I go, why in the hell is a fire truck here because of an overdose or a possible heart attack? Why do they just bring a fire truck? And then Commanding General Yohana told me, because there aren't enough fires anymore with smoke detectors and with brick houses instead of wood houses. So they would have to fire all of these firemen. So instead, firemen just show up for a person that fainted in the street. Because white people take care of poor white people. Because if not, firemen would become Al Capone and Jesse James. Go ahead.
And now the firehouses also have the ambulance trucks too, so now they're EMTs as well as.
Yeah, but why do they come? Why is a fire truck coming to an overdose on the street corner? Someone, please ask somebody to explain that to me. Just give me the rationale on paper on how someone fainted. They call an ambulance. Who shows up? An ambulance and a fire truck. When it's not a fire, you die. Okay, why is he? But it's not a fire. Why is the fire truck there if there is no fire? If someone knows, if you know a fireman, please give us the answer. I, of course, know the spiritual answer. They don't want to fire. They don't want to let go of these firemen because they'll become criminals if they're let go. Here's the state of prisons right now. You see that big top line, right? You can guess who that is. Like, that's who's in the jail. Someone will have to take care of the poor, or else the poor will suffer and die in prison. And I don't think Kyrie Irving or Deion Sanders is up to the job. I don't think they can do it. So we'll have to do it. All right. Any last questions?
Sir. Did you want to read the rest of this, sir?
Let me hear it.
Oh, it says in 1960, the white male incarceration rate was 262 per 100,000 white. U.S. residents, and the black male rate was 1,313, meaning that black men were 5 times as likely as white men to be incarcerated.
That's in 1960. That's before there were 2 million people in jail. It just consistently went up, and the numbers of white people going to jail consistently went down. The point I'm trying to make to you is that didn't happen by accident, right? They went and passed laws, passed bills to make sure that white men had all the construction jobs, all the big push for American unions. That rose white people up from the dirt. World War II, when they came home, the GI Bill, so they all could go to college, so they all could get degrees. Construction jobs that have no purpose at all other than giving white people jobs. The bridge to nowhere. They just do it just to make sure white people are employed. And that works because crime is a direct byproduct of poverty. That's where it comes from. Everyone knows that, except for black people. We think that crime somehow, just comes because you won't get yourself together. Crime is from being poor. That's where it comes from. And back when white people were poor, they committed all the crime. The government stepped in and helped them in every way, and it flipped the numbers, and at the same time, they oppressed you, which is why they can't let you have businesses. Because for every black business that exists, that means there's a white businessman that is now going to become a criminal. That's how money works. If you get all the money, then there's someone who is not getting all of the money. If black people begin to prosper and to grow, if Hispanics began to prosper and grow in business, then white people would lose a share of that money. And they would begin to do crime because they don't have as much money. That should be easy for everyone to understand. You cannot succeed here because if you succeed, white people succeed less. And they cannot succeed less. If they do, they'll storm the Capitol. Do you see what happened right on January 6th? You can't make, white people now feel poor. White men feel like they don't have opportunities. And if a white man feels like he does not have an opportunity, he's going to get his gun and storm the Capitol and break in the doors and piss on someone's desk. He has to feel like he has opportunity if he's a white man. But here's the problem. There's not enough opportunity to go around when you're greedy like he is. He won't share money. So every successful black business, every successful black and Hispanic entrepreneur means there's one white man who's getting one less dollar, and he cannot have that. The poor are your responsibility. America will not fix this problem because it would mean white people would get less money. Does everyone understand? All right, where are we at? Anything?
Sir.
Go ahead.
You got one last question.
Last one. Can I head up or not? Malak?
Yeah, I'll have the key, sir.
I will keep going.
Come. Brother says, Shalom, y'all about to smash out with it. Salak, y'all, can I get a general breakdown of Revelation chapter 19, verse 13 to 14?
Go ahead.
Book of Revelation chapter 19 and verse 13. And he was clothed with a vesture dipped in blood, and his name is called the Word of God.
Okay, give me one verse above it. This precept is speaking about Yahushua Christ, or who the world calls Jesus Christ. It's speaking about him. And this is John having a revelation, meaning the Most High God is revealing the future to him. And in this revelation, he sees Christ. And he's getting prophecies about the future concerning Christ. So now go ahead and read again.
God, Revelation chapter 19 and verse 12. His eyes were as a flame of fire, and on his head were many crowns. His eyes were as a flame of fire. That, of course, reminds you of the precept in Revelation 1, because Christ has red eyes. Red eyes. His eyes were red with wine, but because he drank wine, and his eyes were red. Eyes red like fire. Go ahead. And on his head were many crowns. Go read red like fire. What's the phrase after that?
His eyes were as a flame of fire.
Mm-hmm.
And on his head were many crowns.
And on his head were many crowns. What does that mean? Meaning he doesn't just rule one country or one area. He rules them all, which is why the Bible says he has many crowns, because the governor of this city has a crown. The king of this place has a crown. Christ rules all of the places. So his head has many crowns. You understand? Many rulerships. Keep going.
Come. And he had a name written that no man knew.
And he had a name written. Keep going.
That no man knew.
Why did the Bible say that he has a name written that no man knew? What's your name in Revelations? Your name is your reputation. That's your name. Jesus Christ's name was Jesus, or
Yahushai in the Hebrew, that's in the book of Matthew. The angel of the Most High told his mother and father what to name him. That's his name. But he has a name which no man knows, because your name is your good name. Or you have a what? You got a bad name around here. What does that mean if someone says that to you? That means your reputation is bad. Your name, and once again, if you're learning the Bible from white people, you'll think that Jesus Christ has some secret name that nobody knows, because you read the Bible like a white man. You don't understand slang. In slang, your name is your reputation. Don't put that on my name. You're putting dirt on my name. I have a good name. He has a bad name. That's not talking about Jeremy or Jeffrey. It's talking about your reputation. Christ has a reputation that no man knows. Now, what's your precept for that? If all of the deeds that he had committed if all of the deeds that he has done were written down, there would not be enough books in the planet Earth that could hold them. That's in the book of John. Find that for me, please, someone, or I'll find them myself. Christ would do miracles and tell people, don't tell anyone. You can find that. That famous story where he went to the blind man, spit in the dirt, turned it into miry clay, spit into it, and put it on the blind man's eyes. Told the blind man, go into the city, wash your face in the pool in Bethesda. He washed his face and he could see. He told the blind man, when you go do it, tell no one what happened today. Christ was so humble, so humble. The miracles that we read about in the Bible, that's nothing compared to all the miracles he actually did.
Right.
He would tell people not to tell anyone, because he wasn't some football player or basketball player that needs constant praise and claps and cheers and parades for every goddamn thing he does. And you're more than willing to give it to him. You purple homosexuals went down there and marched for him because he shared a book on the internet. Can you imagine how Kyrie Irving felt when he saw all of those purple men's out there? He must have thought he was beloved. He thought he had an army of people. Oh, I mean, he must have felt so good. That's what rich people get to feel all the time. That they're always loved. Everyone loves them. Everyone cheers for them. Everyone supports them. Meanwhile, a little boy at a gas station can't eat tonight. That's the reality of life. Christ did miracles. He doesn't need your praise. He doesn't need your applause or your armies. He doesn't need them. He did it because it was right. Because it was right. Read, please, you die.
John chapter 21 and verse 25. And there are also...
Here's the precept for the brother that asked the question, all right? This is why the Bible in Revelation says he has a name which no man knoweth. Read, you die. Tell him where you are again.
Revelation chapter 19 and verse 12. His eyes were as a flame of fire.
No, you read it already. Now read the
And he was clothed with a vesture dipped in blood.
Break down why the one you were about to read in John. Read that one.
Oh,
Remember, in the other precept in Revelations, I'm assuming this is what the question is. Why does the Bible say he has a name written that no man knows, right?
Oh.
Right? I'm pulling a precept now to explain what that means. Go ahead.
Oh, his question was in 13.
Oh, shit. Read it.
14.
All right, go ahead and read that.
Revelation chapter 19 and verse 13. And he was clothed with a vesture dipped in blood.
Solid. He was clothed in this vision. He was clothed with a vesture. A vesture is like a vest. The term vest comes from the word vesture. All it means is it's a garment long with no sleeves. That's a vesture, right? A vest. But imagine a vest, but a vest that goes down to the ground. That's what a vesture is, all right? And this vesture was what?
Dipped in blood.
Was what?
Dipped in blood.
Was what?
Dipped in blood.
Oh, I think you understand that. He was clothed with a vesture dipped in blood. He came back wet. You understand what I mean, right? Wet. That's how he came back. Why? Because he brought justice to this evil, cruel world. That vesture is dipped in blood on a mission of love, kindness, because now the poor have a protector. Now the poor have a hero. I pray you understand. Keep going.
Come. And his name is called the Word of God.
That's his name, the Word of God. His name, the Word of God. Why is he the Word of God? Because that is his. His name is the Word of God. Why is his name the Word of God? Because that's his. Give him a hand. That's his reputation. That's how he lives. God says something, he does it. God says don't do that, he doesn't do it. That's his reputation. That's how he lives. Correct. Anything else?
Verse 14, sir.
Is that his question? Go ahead.
And the armies which were in heaven followed him upon white horses, clothed in fine linen, white and clean.
That's the vision. All of this is a vision that John is seeing. He's seeing him, vesture dipped in blood. Imagine a white garment, just, red from blood, wet with blood. And then armies of horsemen behind him, all wearing white. Why? Because all of them are about to be dipped in blood. That's why. That's a whole lot of garments about to get real dirty. Real dirty. I pray you understand. Anything else? Solid. So what should we do from here? Has Marah called?
He said he's not going to be here till 9, sir.
General Mayaka is here, but you don't
He's
know.
not here. He's not.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't have a key for upstairs, sir.
We'll wrap it at 9. At 9, the class is over. If you want to leave now, you can. I don't give a damn. I'll just be here till 9 o'clock, and that's that. All right? Come on. Go ahead. Keep reading.
Come on. You have one more question.
Mm-hmm.
Sis said, Salaki, sir, what do I do when my friend tells me she wants to die and she's going crazy behind her baby's father not wanting to be with her? I share classes and the scripture breakdowns with her. And she did not respond.
Is there another question, or that's the only one?
That was it.
Let me tell you, your friend is a selfish bitch, and I'm going to explain to you why, right? There is very few things. I'll try to think of something that is more selfish than suicide. I don't know, Malak. I'm trying to think, is there something that is more selfish? She just now said her friend wants to kill herself because she wants to be with her baby's father, right? The sister that's called is asking this question is worried about her, is concerned about her, tells her to come to class and to watch the classes. Why can't your friend live for you? There are so many people in your life where they're so sad about something, miserable about something, and they want to die. And they'll tell you, they'll say, I want to kill myself. They'll say this famous phrase, I don't want to be here anymore. Raise your hand if you heard that before. I don't want to be here anymore. You selfish bitch. Why don't you stay here for me? The person that you're talking to, that you're telling how much you want to die, this person cares about you. And you know they care about you. That's why you're telling them you want to kill yourself. And yet you would still say you have no reason to live. Live for them. Live for somebody else, you selfish, dirty bitch. You know how evil that is, Huck? That's a cruel thing to kill yourself. Why? Because one, I'm gonna get both of your points. It comes from just selfishness. You know what you are? You're a child. And it's something that I try. General Yohana tries to help me with this all the time. I need him to try a little harder because it's getting very difficult as I get more and more mature, I just can't stand children. It just makes me, it angers me. I try to stop it, but I need help. I'm not in charge, okay? And so there you go. I need help with the hatred that I begin to grow in my heart for someone that's selfish. It bothers me. Like it gives me a personal offense. You don't want to be here anymore? You don't want to be here anymore. Well, let me ask you a question. Did God get your permission to make you here? Like, you're here now, right? Did God ask you, did you want to be born? Did someone say, hey, would you like to be born? Because if not, I'll make sure you're not born. No one cares about what you want. God decided to bring you here. God. And you don't get to leave here without his permission. No one gives a F what you want. I don't want to, you know what you're like? You're like this. I want to go home. I want candy. I want to go to Chuck E. Cheese. I want donuts. I want. Your whole life is I want. Now here you are, a 40-year-old woman. And now I don't want to be here. Who asked you did you want to be here? Is God short in his ability to kill? If God doesn't want you here, he'll let those fibroids kill you. He'll do it. If God doesn't want you here, he'll let that HPV virus kill you. He'll kill you with AIDS. He'll kill you in a car accident tonight. If God doesn't want you here, he can get rid of you. But if God wants you here, then you must obey his will. Or else you're a child that says, I want Chuck E. Cheese. I want to go home. I don't want to be here anymore. Who asked you? Who asked you what you want? Please, sister.
I was gonna say, when you said that she should live for her friends, she should live for her kids.
Sit, give her a hand. Yeah. I mean, sis, what you'll find is very few people give a damn about their kids. Right? Children, I always like to think about children like defecation. Pieces of you know what. You don't want to defecate, but you want to eat. And because you ate food, you defecate. Well, people don't want kids. They want to have sex. And because they had sex, a baby came out of their ass. Do you understand? And that's how people treat children. They treat children like, I got horny and here's a kid. I ate a sandwich and here's a piece of mess in the toilet. The child is just a byproduct of the thing that they actually wanted. And the thing they actually wanted was penis. That's the real thing that they were hungry for. But when it comes to a child, how much better would this world be if people actually did good things because they had kids? Whew, this would be a different place. But no, she's going to leave those kids to somebody. She's not going to even give a damn about those kids. Why? Because she don't want to be here anymore. And I got to be happy. I'm just not happy. She's not going to care about her children. She's not going to care about the people in her family that love her. She's not going to care about any of them because she's a selfish bitch. And what you have to do with people like that is realize when they say they want to die, and you'll go, well, I don't want you to die. So don't you have to live now? I want you to live forever. That's what I want. I know what you want. You want to die. But your kids need you. I need you. So now, even though you don't want to live, can you do it for me? And if you can't do it for me, then what in the hell do I care if you kill yourself then? Shalom. I'll go find someone that will live for me. Because there are sisters out here that will be depressed and sad because they lived tragic lives before they came into the truth. And they'll find sisters in the Israelite school of UPK that care about them. And they'll go, man, I might be depressed because of how I was raised. But this sister would be heartbroken if she found that I died. It would kill us. Some of you, man, if we lost you, it would destroy us. If we lost you, we'd be heartbroken. And some of you will know that, and you'll live for us, and we'll live for you. I pray you understand. Anything else?
A different question that a sister posted that, man, you might really just answer this, sir. One sister said, Sloppy, sir, how does a mother fight the demon of postpartum depression? And is there a biblical reason women go through it?
Postpartum depression is a medical issue. That's all. It's a medical issue because your body has lost the baby. You were 9 months, you had a baby inside of you, and to carry a baby, a woman's body has to change in very dramatic ways. Her chemical structure, her physiology has to change. So when the baby leaves your body, you'll feel the loss of a baby because the baby is no longer inside of you. It's like separation anxiety. The baby was in you, moving. Your hormones were sculpted to suit the baby. Then the baby is outside of your body, and your body will feel loss. It's chemical. Let me explain to you how you fight postpartum depression, right? One, there is medication that you can get if you dumbass would go to the doctor, but you're dumb is this bottle of this ice cup right here. You're stupid as hell. Malak, do you know when Obamacare first came out? I had to battle people who didn't want health care. They thought Obamacare was like, evil because they said they didn't want health care. And I had to get in battle saying, if you got a job and a job had health coverage, you would think it's a good idea. But are you telling me you don't want the government to pay for your own goddamn health coverage? You don't want that? Why? Because white people on the internet was telling them that this government health care is going to clone you. That's a real thing. I had to have those battles up about cloning. I've been in a cloning battle, Malak. I've been in a battle about health care from the government. They were going to clone everybody. I've been in those battles. I had enough of that. I'm about done with that. I want you to stop being so effing ignorant. I want you to stop. If you have a medical problem, go to the doctor because healthcare is free now. You can go to the doctor or pay $20 a month, $50 a month. Go to the doctor and get the goddamn pill that settles your hormones so you'll be fine. Go to the doctor, you dumb, stupid son of a bitch. Go to the doctor. Now, how do you fight it? This is what you do. And hear this very carefully because this is hard to understand. Your depression will stop over time. Postpartum depression ends as long as you don't kill yourself until it ends. As long as you don't slit your wrists or do what women love to do and cut all their arms all the way up there. They start cutting their flesh. And then they find a way to show it to you like, oh yeah, I've been cutting myself. I didn't want you to see that. Yes, you did. But you wanted me to see all those scratches on your damn arm. That's why you're wearing short sleeves with scratches all up your damn arm. Or they go tell people that they want to die because they want people to feel sorry for them and to give them attention. Postpartum depression ends like every bad thing. Everything ends. Every tragedy, every terrible feeling will eventually end. The key to life is find a reason to endure, to stay alive until it ends, because it will end. Everybody understands? All right. How are we looking? The brother's checking it out right now. You die? Should I go or stop? With that, pass the class over to Officer Malak. Yeah, man.
ISUPK security announcements.